While 2021 may have been a rough year for the gaming industry as a whole due to the pandemic, the RPG genre stood above the rest. It delivered a boatload of instant classics such as Shin Megami Tensei V, Bravely Default 2, Tales of Arise, Neo: The World Ends With You, and many more. That's why it means so much when I say that I truly believe 2022 can top 2021's RPG releases. My name is the Ashen Dragoon, and here on this channel I make videos covering gaming and gaming news with a focus on RPGs. I also make in-depth analysis videos from time to time on the games that I really love. So if you do like the video, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon to get notifications every time that I upload. Links to all of my socials are in the description below. But let's get back to the topic at hand. I really tried to order this list roughly in accordance to the game's release dates. The games earlier in this list are expected to be released before the games later on. I did not rank these games in order of how excited I am for each of them. This game actually already released at the time of me making this video. I know I'm a little behind the 8 ball because I can't stop playing Smash Ultimate, but Legends Arceus most definitely deserves a spot on this list. And yes, I do say Arceus, not Arceus, so deal with it. This is a completely new take on the Pokemon formula, which was clearly welcome, as in its first week alone, it's already sold 6.5 million copies. While there are many technical limitations due to the Switch and Game Freak, this is definitely a step in the right direction for Pokemon. In my opinion, I wouldn't really label Horizon Forbidden West as an RPG, but I see that many do because of its RPG elements. Aloy's second outing looks to take place in what appears to be San Francisco, and she will have plenty more gadgets and tools to approach combat this go around. But I'm really more curious to see where they take the story. There were so many unanswered questions from the first game, and I'm fascinated to see how they build on the cliffhanger from Zero Dawn. Check out Forbidden West on February 18th. Elden Ring is probably the single most anticipated game of this year. From Software has become a household name with their Soulsborne series. However, most of the previous games in the franchise have been linear. Elden Ring bucks that trend and is adding in an open world to complement that extremely satisfying gameplay. Add in the fact that legendary Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin contributed to the setting and characters, and it's easy to see why so many people are excited for this game's release on February 25th. Final Fantasy is my favorite gaming franchise of all time, and recently with the Pixel remasters releasing on Steam and mobile, the NES and SNES entries are as accessible as they've ever been. With smoothed out pixels, art, translations, and beautifully reorchestrated music, many would consider the Pixel remasters to be the best way to play these games today. Final Fantasy VI's remaster is scheduled to release sometime in February, and it could be just what many are waiting for. Despite being widely considered one of the best Final Fantasies, FF6 has really had a troubled history with its ports. This is by far and away the game I'm most excited for this year. Triangle Strategy is a blend between Final Fantasy Tactics and Octopath Traveler. When I played the demo about a year ago, I was instantly ready for this game to release. The tactical combat looks to be extremely gratifying, and the different factions and political intrigue within the Salt Iron War look to be right up my alley. I really am digging that as the player you're going to be able to have agency within the story. Anytime there is a major decision, allies will vote on how things should be handled, and the player has the ability to talk and persuade these allies in an attempt to sway them in one direction or the other. This makes me very curious to see how many branching and divergent paths there can be in this game. Triangle Strategy releases on March 4th, so get ready. I will have an in-depth preview coming out next week right here on this channel, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. Sticking with the tactical RPGs, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp is a remaster of the original 2 Advance War games from the GBA. While this series may be lesser known, it should not be slept on. It has a very unique twist on the standard grid-based combat. This is based on war, so you act as a commanding officer. And there is more resource and unit management in Advance War games, and there's a much bigger emphasis on capturing factories, cities, and headquarters. I played both of the DS entries in this series, but I never got to play the original 2, so I really am excited to check out Advance War 1 and 2 Reboot Camp when it releases this spring. Chaos! While it is fun to meme on Stranger of Paradise's first revealed trailer, it has since proven itself to become a legitimately interesting and intriguing game. Its subtitle, Final Fantasy Origin, hints at its connection to the original Final Fantasy. This is juxtaposed by the entire style of the game, which is really nothing like anything else in the series. The color palette is dark and gritty, and the combat really draws inspiration from the Soulsborne games. I mean, some of these finishing animations are brutal for what I would expect in an FF game. Stranger of Paradise releases on March 18th, and now I'm starting to realize it's going to take me long into summer to catch up on all of these upcoming games. One last shameless plug though, I'm going to be doing a video in the near future discussing whether Stranger of Paradise should really even be considered a Final Fantasy game. So once again, last time I promise, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon also. I promise this was the last one. Formerly known as Project Athia, Forspoken has gone from a tech demo to one of the more interesting releases of this year. This is another game I'm not 100% sure would qualify as an RPG, but I've seen it referred to as an action RPG by multiple different outlets. Forspoken looks like an isekai of sorts, where the main character, Frey Holland, is trapped in a different world. Based on the trailers we've seen so far, it's hard to tell much more than that, but it is promising. The graphics look absolutely nutty, and the free-flowing movement of the game is pretty different from anything we've seen before, so I'm really excited to see how they implement that into the combat. May 25th is the current release date for Forspoken. Bethesda has pretty much confirmed that Starfield will be released in 2022. However, we don't know anything at all about the game. We've only really gotten a cryptic teaser trailer that hasn't shown us much at all, and I'm really cautious about this game, but I am still excited. I do think it is very concerning we haven't received much more news or info at this point, but I wouldn't really be surprised if it does end up getting pushed back to 2023 at this rate. Personally, I'm much more excited for Avowed that Obsidian is working on. Nevertheless, the amount of hype around Starfield is too high not to have it on this list. The last 3 games on this list are the ones that I could see releasing later in the year of 2022, but are probably more likely to release in early 2023. The first of which is Final Fantasy XVI. After Triangle Strategy, this is definitely my most anticipated game of the year. The reason being that Naoki Yoshida and Creative Business Division 3 at Square Enix are in charge of the project. What Yoshi P and his team have done with FF14 is nothing short of miraculous. In fact, FF14 has the best story of any game in the franchise, in my humble opinion. I have complete faith that this will be one of the most well-received single-player titles in the franchise in a very long time. The story looks to be based on pure fantasy with political intrigue, crystals, summons, and familial bonds. The combat looks fast, almost like a Devil May Cry game. That sounds like a very nice combo to me. We still haven't seen too much though this year, and based on our recent press conference, there were some setbacks due to COVID, so this is either a late 2022 release or it will slip into 2023. We've known about Hogwarts Legacy since before the current gen consoles released, and it's been highly anticipated ever since. I mean, literally everybody dreamed of what life at Hogwarts would be like, and it appears that we're finally going to get the chance to live out that fantasy. By the looks of it, we won't just be confined to Hogwarts either. We'll get a chance to see the wider wizarding world. I could actually see this kind of being like a Persona game where we get the chance to build social bonds and learn at school at Hogwarts and then take on missions and dungeons outside of the school. One can only hope. There's a lot of rumors currently that suggest that we'll be seeing Hogwarts Legacy in September, so fingers crossed. In 2019, we were told that we would be getting a sequel to Breath of the Wild. However, things really got quiet until last year when we received a second trailer that was dated 2022. Although delays are commonplace in the times that we live in, I do believe that we're going to see the game released this year based on how complete the game looked in last year's trailer. There seems to be an even greater emphasis on air travel due to the floating continents and land masses that were showed off in the trailer. Plenty of new gadgets and mechanics were also revealed that let us know that we won't be playing a cheap cash grab reusing the same assets from the first game. I would really like to see the story develop more in this sequel, as I felt like that was the only thing holding back the original from being a perfect game. Well, there you have it. 12 exciting new games from the RPG genre to look forward to in 2022. There are plenty of other games that didn't make this list and plenty of other games to look forward to outside of the genre. Simply put, it's a great time to be a gamer. But I want to know what games you guys are excited for. Do any of the games that you are excited for match the ones on my list? What other games outside of the genre interest you? Let me know the answer to all of those questions down in the comments below. Once again, if you did like the content, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. Like I mentioned, I have a triangle strategy preview coming up, as well as a video on Stranger of Paradise, so be on the lookout for those. Until the next time, thanks for stopping by.